Today on What Went Wrong, we talk about procrastination.
Can we just do it later?
Yeah, right now. Hi, I'm Brett Mauser, and I've made over 40 feature films. And you don't do that by procrastinating. Right up front, I'm going to let the audience know that this is going to be one of our harsher, colder ones. I think. I mean, we're pretty blunt and upfront to begin with. But
You mean we're not candy coating this one like we normally do?
But this one, we're gonna. I think we have to go kind of hard because this is probably one of the things I hear most. And a lot of people even admit that they are procrastinators. And it's good that you identify it. That, hey, okay, I'm a procrastinator. Now you've identified it. Now what are you going to do about it?
Right.
The reason we're going really hard on this one is because this isn't just about film, but this is your life in general.
Yeah.
Procrastinating is going to keep you from accomplishing your goals. Yeah. Period. End of story.
Yeah.
And our purpose of doing all this, the What Went Wrongs, the lessons, is to get people to see their dreams come true, get that film made, go out and become an independent filmmaker. Yeah. So we have to hit it home that this is a serious issue. I mean, when it comes to independent film, this is probably the one thing that keeps most people down is I'll do it tomorrow. Touched a little bit on this in one of my solo episodes where I talk about having a life.
It's hard to have a life and do this kind of stuff.
It is.
Much less having an actual life and doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, which I don't have.
Yeah.
Because I've chosen this life. I've tried to do both, and they.
Yeah.
You know, even when that other person in your life is trying to be understanding and trying to be supportive. Eventually it will wear down on them.
Yeah.
And when they finally realize that they aren't number one and that they will never be number one, they've got to go elsewhere.
Yeah.
They're welcome to stay around.
Well,
from our point of view.
Right.
It's you're welcome to stay, and it'd be great, how you're part of my life. But they want, and as they should.
Yeah.
They want to be somebody's number one. I just can't offer that.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, it's something I've been married and, I've had some girlfriends. And one of the things that I've said, as a point of discussion we've also gone through, is I always have to tell, I at some point will have to tell Little Miss Wonderful, look, airplanes come first. That's how the bills get paid in my world. That's how the bills get paid. And when time comes for it to go, we're taking it and we're going. And most people understand that, okay, but then they don't understand the
practical application
of that. I mean, it's like when I was flying passengers, I'd be home for 4 days, I'd be home for 3 days, gone for 4 days. I used to do 4-day trips, and so I'd have 4-day trip, and they were wherever they happened to be to fill out whatever I was allowed to fly for the month. And there are times I couldn't come home, but one of the coolest things about being a pilot is you can fly on the plane. Like if there's a seat on the plane, you want to go somewhere, you can get on it and go. And that's how we would get home. Because I was based in Detroit. I didn't live in Detroit. I lived in Florida, or I lived somewhere else. I lived in Houston for a while. And you have to basically beg for a ride, to get to and from home. And I couldn't always get it done. Sometimes the weather was bad. Sometimes I just didn't have enough time. Because you're looking at going to the airport, being there for an hour and then a couple hours, right? So the time constraints, although I can tell you, but then all of a sudden the reality is like, look, you're going to see me like 8 days out of the month, maybe. The company I'm working for now, I go for 16 to 18 days and that's it. And I'm done and I can come home. And it's a little bit different, but even then I'm like, I'm going to be going to these places. And I've had a situation where they just didn't like the places I was going because some of them are a little bit, how do you say, dangerous. Without being specific, they're little dangerous places to go. I mean, not like Philly. I mean, Philly's dangerous enough. And of course, living in Detroit for 9 years, you'd think I'd seen it all. But, I'd been on the field when a rocket came flying over the fence, and that was exciting. And I've had problems with a girl, or being like, well, I just don't like that. And I'm like, nah, I just don't care. This is what I do. This is what I've always done. This is what I'm going to keep doing. And so the airplane comes first in my world. In anyone's world, for a significant other to understand that they're not number one, okay? And it's not always a question of that you don't love her or him, but for, keeping it simple, because I'm going to go with what I know. It's not that I don't love whoever it happens to be. It's not that I don't care for whoever it happens to be, but I am what I am. This is what we do. And guys are very much rated about what we do, and this is how I make my living. And I'm going to go. Now, if you find a girl who's okay with that, like if you find a chick who understands and digs that you are going to make the movies, and she is either into it or not as into it. But if she's like, I get that, and you're like, I have to do this because this is what I do. And if she says, absolutely, this is who you are, and I love you for who you are, and you go do that, that's one thing. But I see a lot of guys, and I was just talking to someone not just yesterday, in fact, who happens to be a girl, talking about a guy who, he wants her to do something that she's not really, she's like, I don't, they want to move or do something else. And, and she's got a great career and other things else. And I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you going to move for this guy? You're not, I don't understand, And so it's decisions you have to make. It's not an easy decision. But at some point you have to make it. Old Mr. Miyagi says, walk this side, safe. Walk this side, safe. In the middle, squish like grape. I apologize, Pat Morita, wherever you happen to be. But it is an absolute imperative that whoever you're with understand that, because you're not going to change. I've known you for 30 freaking years, and you're just, you have more facial hair and less head hair. And more money.
It all just kind of dribbled out.
Your hair kind of went this direction, yeah. Basically, and honestly, I'm not much different. My toys are more expensive. I mean, honestly, this is who we are. This is who we've always been. And so for a chick to come in and think that it's going to change, that happen. All that being said, that is a part of an excuse that I hear a lot from people. Well, I'll just do it later on because she needs to do this and she's to that and everything else like that. So, guys, you got to understand, part of procrastinating, part of not procrastinating is understanding that what you're doing is who you are. Or if it's not who you are, it's something you have to do. You may be a movie producer, or you may be, you may be an accountant, or you may be a lawyer, or you may be a whatever it happens to be. But if this is something that you feel like you have to do, if you don't do it, it's never going to get done.
It's not just being a filmmaker. It's being an actor or being your editor or what have you. I mean, I've passed off projects to other people, whether it's editing or, hey, can you act in this or act in that, and you're still waiting, and you're still waiting, and you're still waiting for that. You're now affecting other people.
Right.
When I pass that off to somebody else, I'm ready to go. For instance, like season 6, I'm ready to go and launch that, but I'm still waiting on something. It does not look like it's going to get done in time for me to release it by the end of the year.
Oh, yikes.
And that's disappointing because I had given them this for like a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
So now I'm having that difficult situation of, and it's an important thing. It's not something that I can cut because it's very essential to explain certain details of the saga.
Yeah.
So now that it's taken so long and it's like pulling teeth to get this, that's making me consider how this is going to impact projects later.
Right.
My deadline, I told people and promised this was going to be out by the end of the year. Now it doesn't look like that.
Damn.
And now I'm in that position. And the same thing with, passing the project off to get edited or to write. Everybody knows that we're about to do the 12-in-1. Well, full disclosure, we've had deadlines. We're doing the sort of planning it a quarter at a time. So it's, okay, guys, for our first quarter, I need all of our scripts and budgets and everything in by October 31st.
Right.
And when that time comes and goes, it's like, okay, I'm doing the first 3 films. I have to.
Yeah.
And now at the beginning of December, I put out the emails like, okay, December 31st for second quarter, I need all these in. And it's now
whatever day it
over
is.
halfway through the month,
Yeah.
and they still got time. But what happens when that doesn't come in? If it doesn't come in, now I'm doing 6 films, and now I have to consider, is that going to be something that I can put on their shoulders now? They've shown, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Is it procrastination? Is it, if it is procrastination, you have to look at yourself and ask. You know, like one of the video clips that I'm waiting on will take 5-10 minutes to do.
Right.
Still waiting over a month at this
Wow.
point. So I have to, you know, as much as good a friend as they are, and as, you know, as comfortable as good a work as they do, you know, when they are present,
Yeah.
I have to consider, okay, I've got a project coming up, and I want to put him or her in a starring role. If I can't get that, how can I have that entire feature weighing on their shoulders?
Yeah.
And they have to look in the mirror, and they have to understand my point of view.
Right.
They have to understand where I'm coming from.
Right.
Because if they don't do it, or I've got to figure out how to get around that, or to do it a different way.
Right.
Or I'm going to be the one doing all 12 goddamn films.
Yeah.
So if you know you're a procrastinator, just pull out.
Right.
Just stop. Unless you identify you're a procrastinator and are willing to analyze your own life and be completely honest with yourself and say, what am I procrastinating for? When I procrastinate, what am I doing in place of writing a script or editing that project?
Yeah.
Am I going to watch another person's movie? Am I watching something on Disney Plus? Do I have to go change somebody's light bulb? You know, and here's a very chauvinistic attitude, you know, which I wanted to say to somebody. It's like, well, I had to do this, I had to do that. The family wants this, and I got to go do this. I'm like, dude, are you the man of the house or not?
Yeah.
You know, you take some time for yourself. Fine, if it's an equal relationship, great. Get your equal time.
Yeah.
Have the wife handle the kids for an hour and a half.
There's ways, right? There's ways to do. There's ways to do everything that you need to do. Okay, everything you want to do. There's ways around it. The entire world does not stop because a family member needs something, and we all understand that. And there are families all over the freaking planet that somehow have people able to do whatever it was they're able to do. If I know I've got something that needs to get done, okay, whatever it happens to be, and I will admit, there are things I like doing and things I hate doing. And I will put off the things I hate doing as long as I possibly can. For example, like mowing the yard and yard work. Ugh. But it needs to get done, right? So do I go do it? I do not. I have pay someone else to do it. See, I don't necessarily have to do it myself, but it still needs to get done.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's times that you may have to do something or something needs to get done. And if you can't do it, you still have to find a way to do it. I still have to find a way to mow my yard. Okay. Mm-hmm. I do that by not doing it, by paying someone else. Because as far as I'm concerned, my time is valuable enough that I can afford to pay someone to do it for me. Okay. And it's worth it to me. If I have something else to do and I need to get it done, but I can't, I either pay someone else to do it or I endure it not being done. I don't like doing house stuff, and I have a house now, and I don't like doing house stuff. And I will do anything I can to have someone else do it or pay someone else to do it. I have friends that are insane and they actually like doing house stuff, which is weird. And so I'll invite them to come over. Say, hey, I need you to do this. And for that, you'll get pizza and dinner and beer, whatever you want, whatever, anything you want. What do you want? $100 and a bucket of chicken. What can I do for you? But it gets done.
There's some housework I've just discovered, because I've got to trim the trees to keep the thing. So I got that stick with the big little mini chainsaw.
Oh yeah.
And I was out there going, and I'm like, half the tree's gone now.
Yeah.
Just because they're like, this is fun.
This is awesome. I love destroying. Yeah. There are things that I like to do that I have no problem doing. There are things I hate doing, but it still has to get done.
Yeah.
Now, if you've got a project coming up and Bob needs to give you this, whatever the it is, and he hasn't done it, Bob, dude, seriously, what the hell, man?
And especially being a teacher, at this point, I don't care what your excuse is anymore.
Yeah.
And because I don't believe you anymore. Doesn't matter who you are. Anybody comes up with an excuse because I've heard it all. Mm-hmm. And my favorite one to this day is, oh, why weren't you in class this morning? Oh, I'm sorry, my grandmother died last night. I had to go to the funeral this morning. I don't think that's how death works. I don't think that's how burying people works.
That's not. No, that's not.
They actually said, I saved that email because I was just, it was like, because their final project was due or something, and that my grandmother died yesterday. I had to go to the funeral today. Like, nobody works that fast.
No. No.
So it's instances like that I'm like, especially if you have a month to do something.
I would just admit it most of the time. When I didn't have some done, I'd be like, yeah, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry. Not really. I'm not actually really mind the sorry. It didn't get done.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't have it in. I don't have it in me to.
But see, me, I hate having to do that.
Yeah.
I hate having to tell somebody, I'm sorry, I didn't get that done. Mm-hmm. So I do my damnedest not to. Yeah. And it's a list of priorities. Yeah. Prioritizing the you got to get done.
To be honest, that was like 28 years ago when I was still in college. So and I was in the military. There isn't really a not getting stuff done. It's got to get done. And now the job I'm doing now, flying.
Yeah. Most of the time when I don't get something done, it's because I legitimately forgot.
Yeah.
So that's why whenever anyone asks me to do anything anymore, I say, okay, can you please email me? Mm-hmm. Because that is my to-do list.
Right.
And my email box just sits there until I do something and I accomplish something. Then I delete that email. Otherwise, that email is staring at me day after day after day.
Right.
Which is why when an actor will say, hey, can you do me a demo reel? Absolutely. Be happy to. Email me. And then I never get an email. And I'm like, I'm going to forget. Because I tell them up front. I say, I am happy to do it. It's not a procrastination thing. It's a memory thing. Yeah. I'm just not. You send me this, I will do it.
A little different.
Yeah.
For me, it's the same thing. I have to my cell phone. I have to when people people ask me to do one or two things, I can remember that.
Yeah.
You start making lists. Okay, I can't. That's not going to work.
Yeah, I have a reverse issue of that when I'm in charge. I will tell somebody something once. They don't tell me, hey, email me or anything, and usually I will email somebody. But when because I've got that mental checklist of, I got to tell this person that and this, and I tell them, hey, can you do this? Don't forget about that.
Right.
For me, and they've acknowledged it when they said, okay, yeah, I got it. For me, I've done my job and I said, okay, I don't want to check in on this person every 5 days.
Right.
Or every 5 minutes
right.
or whatever. I just want to be able to say, do this, got it, good, I'm out of it. Because I'm going to assume you're a responsible human being.
Right.
Which is my mistake.
Well, but it's not so much that they're responsible human beings or not. I mean, I'm sure they are. If they exist on the planet and you're talking to them, I assume they have some kind of responsibility going on somewhere. But like everybody else on the planet, they have some kind of foible. For me, it's I hate doing certain things. And if someone needs me to do some things, I certainly will. But I got to start making lists because I'm a pilot and I need my checklist, mm-hmm. Or nothing's going to happen. And so, but knowing that about me, I know that there are certain things I hate doing. I know there are certain things I need reminders about. I know there are certain things I have to make lists. Ergo, in order to get things done, I am aware of my foibles, my failures, my lacking in certain things. And to ensure that doesn't happen, I will conduct myself accordingly. I make a list. Mm-hmm. Or in this case, hey, can you do something for me? Sure, shoot me an email, send me a message. For me, I usually say, send me a message. Because I can't, like when I'm working, I usually can't be reached. Sometimes for days. Yeah. Sometimes for days at a time. And there are times I'm gone. I'm out of the country. Well, I'm usually always out of the country. And some places we go don't have good, whatever. I just say, send me a message, and as soon as I get it, I will send one back to you. So that way, if you say I need this in 4 days, and you send it to me on day 1, and you haven't heard back from me by day 3, you can safely assume I've not gotten it, because I always answer my messages or as soon as I get them. And so that is a procedure I have to go through, and you understand that, and people who know me understand that. And that's how we prevent failures like I need this by the 31st or the 20th, and it's not there. And if I'm not doing my part, I've screwed you up, okay? And that is not okay in my book. If it screws me up because my grass is too long, that's one thing. Okay, if it f***s your world up because I didn't get you or whatever it was you needed on time, well, that's on me, and that's horrible. Because now I'm affecting your world and your work and your passions and your projects. Okay, for me my baseboards don't get painted. Then okay, my baseboards are unpainted. Yay, But you're trying to put this project out and you're trying to get this stuff out on time, and I'm screwing it up. That's not okay. Ever is that okay? No.
Here is my advice. And this is where the harshness comes in.
Right.
This is where being blunt and brutally honest. First, look at yourself, and if you're not being able to make films,
right,
then first step, ask yourself why. And if the first thing is I'm procrastinating, then okay, good, you've identified it. You're a procrastinator. So now you have to fix that. First, you have to accept, if I keep procrastinating, I'm not going to get this job done. I'm not going to be able to make my films. Right. So identify your procrastinator. Then what am I doing when I'm procrastinating? If I just go, I'm going to do this instead. What are those things that you're doing? Are you watching TV? Are you smoking a bowl? Are you going out and getting drunk? Are you just chasing women? What is it that you're doing? Now, once you've identified that, I like watching The Mandalorian every night, or watching YouTube for 3 hours every night when I get home. Okay, you've identified that. Now you have to make a choice. Do I want to be able to watch my YouTube for 3 hours, or do I want to make movies? Step 1, make that choice. If you want to make movies, you've got to throw out the 3 hours of YouTube. Now, then it's actually doing that.
Right.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Now, with those 3 hours of YouTube out of your life, now you've got 3 hours to devote to writing, editing, whatever. Backing up, if you're not procrastinating and life is just getting in the way, if you've got 3 kids and you just can't find the time to do this, and you've got all these other responsibilities and you just can't find the time to get this done, quit film. For now,
or
at least, because you can't. Because if your significant other isn't going to share the responsibilities with you or give you that time to go and do your film time, have your film time. If you're locked into this and you just can't find the time to do it, you're never going to find the time to do it. So give up on film. Maybe forever, maybe temporarily, at least until you get out of that position when the kids are out of high school and off to college, and you have that extra time, because you're going to be wasting other people's time. If you're trying to make a film and you only get 3 hours a week to do it, and you bring somebody in and you spend 3 hours to shoot on 2 different weekends with 20 different actors, and you shot it over a period of 2 months, and you finally got all your stuff in a can. Now you're only going to have 3 hours a week to edit this feature film. Now these people who gave you their time are waiting on you to edit your film 3 hours a week at a time.
Right.
It's not fair.
Yeah.
And accept it, acknowledge it, and move on.
Right.
I understand it's a dream, and that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
But if you are in that position, it's exactly that, a dream.
Right. There are certain dreams that people have, and I was going to say, or what you could do is if you have a situation like that where you've got the kids or whatever else, and like I did with my lawn, pay someone to take care of your kids, or send them to a church camp, or do something else. If you're going to be making a film this summer, pop your kids off to space camp or adventure camp or whatever the you do with kids. I don't know. Send them to the Navy. I have no idea. Whatever you do with them, get them out of the house for a week or two so you can do all this stuff. There are lots of dreams that people have. Now we've been out of college for quarter of a century, not to make us feel old, and I got a bunch of friends who are calling me up about how do I learn to fly? How do I do this? How do I do that? And I'm telling them, look, it's awesome. Everybody on the planet should learn how to fly an airplane, as far as I'm concerned. Maybe not like professionally, but learn the thing. It's cool. It's science. It's fun. There's all kinds of stuff. It's freeing. It's liberating. It's amazing. You'll never do anything as cool. All right. But it is an exceptional amount of time and could be a lot of money. But it's more about the time. Because here's the thing. When you learn, it's not like when you take a class and you study and you pass whatever the class is, right? And you don't do that again for a while. But you come back to it. Math is still math. Riding a bicycle is still riding a bicycle. Editing is still editing, right? There may be new software, whatever else. When you're flying an airplane and you don't do it for a while, all those skills you had degrade very quickly. And so you'll find yourself repeating the same lessons over and over and over again. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your money. Now, as an instructor, we'll take your money. I don't care. You're paying me, $100 an hour, or however much it is, $50 an hour. I'm an instructor. I used to fly. I used to do it. I don't do it anymore. But whatever it is, I don't mind taking your money. Okay, but you got to pass the things. And so you're looking at a situation where you're going to be spending your time, spending your money, and not getting anything for it. Is it worth it at that point? Now, if you enjoy what you're doing, even though you can't do it the way you want to, if you like filming things, but you're not really good at editing, but you know that about yourself, then if you're going to go into that, then everyone needs to understand, okay, I'm not very good at editing, but I like do it. And maybe you could become part of a group that does something like that. But don't take on this mantle of I'm going to be a filmmaker if you can't pay the price, whichever direction that happens to be, whether it's in time or money or getting rid of your kids or whatever else like that, sell them to the French Foreign Legion, whatever you do with them, right? Then you need to stop doing this. Give up on it. Maybe not permanently, but for now. Because you're not helping yourself, you're not helping anybody else, you're not doing anything, If it's a leisure thing.
It's going to build resentment in your family.
If it's a leisure thing for you, like you have 3 hours a week and you just like taking the camera out and filming things, by God, go with that, but understand that is not how films are made. Mm-hmm. And there's a process you have to, if it's a process you enjoy, great, do the process, but understand that it's not, and anyone you work with needs to also understand. Yeah. I'm not doing this. I'm just doing this because I like this part. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the tough part for me is separating out that friendship,
right?
And hey, I know these people really want to do this, but
so
now I'm in a pickle,
yeah,
and that makes me think on the next project, what do I do with this person?
Yeah, it's a concept of what we talked about the other day about useful people. People have their uses, use them what they are, but if they don't have a use, I can't use you.
Yeah. If you're a procrastinator, accept it, change it, or don't, and get out.
What else are you going to do?